Hey, what's going on there, YouTube? This is SCL0320 representing JBS. So I'm back here again for another review for King Arthur, y'all. King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword was directed by Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie has done some amazing work, specifically with roles like Rock and Roller, Snatch, of course, the Sherlock series, and just recently, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He has a specific style to him that if you don't like it, you kind of like thrown out of it. But I mean, I love the way that he's able to cinematically and story-wise bring you pulling forward and then pulling back to add more weight to the characters. But it progresses a little fast, and this is the same thing that happens with this film in King Arthur: The Legend of the Sword. But I have to pleasantly say that I actually thoroughly enjoyed King Arthur and The Legend of the Sword. I think one of the biggest things about it was the charisma and the character of King Arthur, played by Charlie Hunnam. Charlie Hunnam, like, I've actually been a fan of him, not necessarily just with Pacific Rim. I've never actually seen Sons of Anarchy. It was initially with Green Street Hooligans, with him and Elijah Wood. He was very young, but I was like, this dude, he's got it. Like, he's got an edge to him, and he kind of grew into himself. Got a beard, got bigger, but like even then, like I was like, he's got an interesting edge to him. And I think that watching progression of King Arthur in this story, I think it was cinematically and acted very well. I think that the way that they show him as a character, he's very much so a leader, but he's to himself. He's very much so, very not skeeving, but he's just kind of like, he'll walk in with the presence of weight around him, like, get out of my face kind of thing. Like, I know who I am. I don't care, who you are. I will take you down kind of situation. And that's him as a character. And I think that Charlie Hunnam does such a really good job of making, like, to me, the most likable King Arthur, like, since, shoot, Sean Connery, honestly. I think, what was that one with, I forgot that one where he was actually King Arthur, but probably since him, this is my favorite incarnation of King Arthur. Like, just from a character standpoint, not necessarily a movie. The movie does have different things that are kind of a push and pull, but let's go ahead into the cinematics. So cinematically, in terms of the cinematography, in terms of the actual visual effects, the visual effects are dope. Like, the way that they were actually able to capture some of the sequences, I don't know how they did it. Like, there were a couple of running sequences and action beats that were just amazing. Like, in terms of how to do it. Like, when Arthur first actually even used his sword with two hands, and he uses it, not picks it up, but uses it, like, you're gonna be like, what the heck? Like, kind of like on a Lord of the Rings kind of level kind of situation. I didn't expect that. Looking at the trailers did a good job, because they didn't reveal anything that I actually saw. I was very pleasantly surprised, and at the same time, the trailers didn't reveal to me who all the different characters were, because I thought that, honestly, the character that Jude was playing, I thought he was a totally different character. And I liked that, because I didn't know him. I was really kind of just left in this kind of mysterious kind of thing. Even from the opening crawl, when you have like these mages going up against like the kingdom. And I'm not going to tell you what era and time that takes place, but it's just an epic kind of spectacle to see. One other thing that I noticed that is with the authentic dialogue. When there's dialogue sequences that are very funny and very intriguing, this is very Guy Ritchie-esque in the way that they actually shoot it. And like, they say certain things and then it flashes back. Say certain things and then flashback, reference to it. And I think that movie like Ant-Man did a really good job of that. So anybody that loved the way that they kind of did like moments like that, Ant-Man with Cena, I think that they're gonna love this in this one, because like Charlie and the crew that plays with him does a really good job going back and forth with their dialogue progression. And then cinematically, when Arthur, he's dealing with these traumatic moments that happen with his family and certain things that he needs to progress as a character, he learns these lessons through these visions and through these callbacks and through these flashbacks that cinematically were just amazing. Like, the way they shot them. Another good thing is the score. The score is dope. Like, I think that they did a really good job with the score, and I think they did a good job with, of course, with the Sherlock Holmes. But this is very different. It's not like Sherlock Holmes. It's not like anything I've kind of seen. It's got this like medieval kind of sense to it, but it's edge to it, and it's very upper edge. And I think that all in all, like, everybody committed to the role. Like, Eric Bana plays like, Arthur's dad, and I think that even in the small amount of moments he was there, he was able to capture the real moments that push Arthur where he needs to be. And I think that goes into callback of the acting. I think the acting is really good. I don't think it is like too over the top. I think it was like important for these characters to be the way they are, so that it's not like boring, but yet at the same exact time they're smart and they're true to the mythos of the characters they are. Like, I think that they did not defer the mythos of who Arthur is as much as even anybody else is involved with it, as much as even the mythology of, you know, Excalibur, the sword. I think that everyone committed to their roles, but specifically Charlie, I think that he did just a really good job. Like, they were able to capture moments with him that were filmed well, but it could have came off so cheesy, like, in all honesty. But as far as the story and the progression of it is very different. This very much so feels like the Batman Begins of Nolan's trilogy. Like, I think that you'll understand what I mean by that. By the end of the movie, you're gonna be like, I want more, kind of thing. Like, you're not gonna be like left with a bad taste in your mouth. I think that some people are gonna kind of be pulled back and forth when it comes to the third act. Some people are gonna be like, yes, that was epic, and then some people are gonna be like, that was a little bit over the top. But I actually love the characters enough, and I love the acting enough, and I love the fun enough that I want to see more. And I think that's one thing about this film. This is very fun. Like, it's, to me, was more fun than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I didn't expect to say that. I actually would probably take and pull my rating down for Guardians of the Galaxy to an 8 and push this to an 8.5, because that's what I'm going to end up giving this, because I actually really enjoyed King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword, and I did not expect that. I didn't think I would enjoy it. And as much as I liked the Man from U.N.C.L.E., it just kind of wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. Especially as much as I loved like movies like Snatch and Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes 2, this was a good movie. It was a great time in the movies, and I think that it had real depth to it. It had real interesting imagery. Wasn't too over the top. Wasn't too grotesque in the violence, but the violence, when it does hit, it actually is really crazy. So I actually really enjoyed the movie. Hopefully you go and check it out. I'd highly recommend, if you see a movie this weekend, go see King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword, because I actually had a great time watching it. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Peace, everybody.